Welcome to Good News Around the World. Unfortunately, Nimbus Cloud couldn't make it tonight, so Ethan Holyfield is going to take his spot, and he should be on here any minute. Hope everybody's having a good night. And Nimbus Cloud had a last minute emergency, so hopefully we can get him on here maybe tomorrow or over the weekend. Ethan should be on here any minute. I hope you all are paying attention to what's going on in the world right now. It's pretty crazy, but we'll get through it. Ethan, is it not working? There you are.
Okay. I am here.
Good to see you as always.
See you. Good to see you. How are things?
Things are great. Thank you for taking Nimbus Cloud's spot tonight. He had a last minute emergency, so thank you for filling in. And we have a lot of great things going on for your Skate for America. And why don't you tell everybody about the fundraiser and what we're doing to try and get you around the world?
Yeah, for sure. Sounds good. So yeah, we started the fundraiser. Fundraiser is based on $10,000. Essentially, that's going to fund everything cross country skateboarding. That's going to help establish the business, build its website, sign skaters. It's literally going to help with every inch of getting it off the ground. To get skateboarding cross country to be recognized as a actual form of skateboarding.
Right.
And just essentially giving people in that community a way to channel their energy, things that they're going through. We focus a lot mainly on recovery and mental health, side depression, and ultimately the goal for the fundraiser setup is mile for mile, dollar for dollar. It's said to shoot for the stars, you'll land on the moon. You shoot for the moon, you'll land on your ass. So set our bar as high as we can with this, and I'm looking to get at the very least 100 people willing to support cross country skateboarding and its upcoming skate tour for Skate for Recovery of 2023. The filming of the aftermath of COVID-19 pandemic event that had thrown cross country skateboarding into a full fledged movement. At least based off of my experiences and what took place, the year of 2020, March 17th, Facebook had approved the first fundraiser for cross country skateboarding, Skate for Recovery Tour. That literally funded the entire year, and it put things in play where there were people wanting to work with me into building and turning it into something even bigger. I successfully helped launch an apparel company out in Klamath Falls, Oregon. Unlucky One Apparel, the music and skateboarding culture influence. There was a lot of support that originated from this one decision to do this cross country.
Yeah.
And now I'm in a position where I have an opportunity to provide other people in the skateboarding community a path to kind of channel what they go through, whether it's rage,
Right.
anger, pride.
And how ironic is that? I mean, through the pandemic, how much this has grown and flourished. My mind's blown. I'm sure yours is. I mean, this thing, we've been working together. I've been watching you skate, and it's just amazing how big this thing has gotten. TikTok, YouTube, Instagram. It's just really, really amazing, and I'm proud. I'm really proud of you.
The sad thing about it all is it takes more hands on deck, Jeanette. And
Absolutely.
And that's why we're here, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to fill in. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to make it tonight, but I appreciate you having me. I was really looking forward to trying to stream this on TikTok. I was having a little technical difficulties with it, but you guys that joined this stream and this brief little interview, I'd appreciate it if you could go check the fundraiser out and support the page. Look into it. You'll see how your money is broke down and how it will be spent in many ways. And think of it as an investment to more than just me. The donation will come directly to me, but to trust and in me to be doing the right thing with it. Ultimately, actions speak louder than words. I can show you better than I can tell you. Just keep following my page, keep following the story. Every single day over the past 2 years, I'm continuously going to receive memory notifications from Facebook. I've utilized social media and leveraged it in my ability to capture as many moments of my life as possible, because at the end of the day, that's essentially what we all kind of fantasize about, like when we go. And the type of people, the friends or family that are or won't be there, essentially we all are working ourselves to death, and we're doing all of this for very, very little as far as what we experience, the happiness or pleasures in life that we experience. We seem to indulge in so much that just takes all of our attention, it takes all of our energy, it takes of our drive to want to invest in ourselves. And I took 1 year and challenged myself, the ultimate challenge of skate to work on a daily basis, and finding myself coming up with something bigger. Like, well, I'm skating 20 miles a day, 2 jobs. Well, there's this many skate parks in the U.S., so why don't we just come up with a distance? The long distance traveled on skateboard was originally around 7,000 miles or so, 5,000, 6,000 miles, and it was bested by a gentleman in 2017, 2018. It is 7,555 miles, or it's 8,000. Either way, ultimately,
that's huge.
Yeah, it is huge. And looking at, I'll skate 10 miles for every 100 supporters willing to invest in me.
And even if it's just $1, that's $1 that's being invested into your cause. So everybody out there, even if you just do $1, $10, $5, right?
Right. And anything is greatly appreciated. Help us reach that goal, and we ultimately 10,000 is definitely what we want to get cross country skateboarding off the ground as its business, as its own recognized sports and part of the sport industry. It also is an equal amount of entertainment industry, and to be able to do so much with this, we have already brought to the table many ideas and many things, and development of an app is in the air that I'm excited about. An app where you can essentially go run 100 miles for whatever community or whatever you want to support. You want to support the LGBT community, you could go into this app and you could skateboard, jog, or bicycle. You would have an option of how you wanted to support it and what you wanted.
Right.
You want to do the 100-mile run, the 300-mile bicycle, or you could skateboard. And ultimately, to make these things safe and legal to do, whether there's permits that have to be pulled, the cool thing is, in my opinion, Jeanette, that these things are being discussed. At the end of the fact is that they are being brought up and they are being given attention.
And they have to be. Yeah.
Right, exactly. So, like, how are a group of people going to run 100 miles for St. Jude's? What road, what land are they going to do it on? You know, like, and so to look further into these things and ultimately make it as safe as we can for people, an app was the answer. To design an app that would constantly be updated, like it'd be a live feed update. You could
and that's what people need to understand, all the back work that needs to be done, like the app and finding the skate parks, finding sponsors. It's a lot of work. It's not just skating.
Yeah, and you know, I got to talk to Rain today about it. I'm actually excited to kind of like, you know, discuss that a little bit with you, catch you up on it. You know, because I know how busy you are, and it's very hard for us because you and me are working on this together as it is.
Absolutely.
And I'm very fortunate to be able to, you know, slide into this spot tonight. And I know that we try to keep it as short as we can, to an extent. But yeah, please, y'all, like, follow, share the live stream. Please, every chance you get, check Jeanette's content out and join her online Facebook live stream segment for good news around the world, where she interviews people with amazing stories. The future overnight. That's literally what we do. Like tomorrow morning, everything that we've done tonight, I honestly would have to give one piece of advice, and to anybody that's watching this live stream: outwork everyone. Outwork your brother, your sister, your mother. Outwork your boss.
Do it
as much as you can, because the more that you can squeeze into every 24 hours without putting yourself, like health, your mental health, your physical or emotional health at risk, finding balance is very difficult. But if you constantly find yourself able to recenter your focus and just look at what is your goal, find your goal. When you have your why, you can't let anybody around you, if you have someone in the same partying right now, if you're having a drink and you look around your room, those people are distracting you, and everything you're doing becomes a distraction. Your environment leads your life. Or you take
so it really comes down to, if you have to pick yourself up and remove yourself, and that's what you got to do. That's it.
For me, I had to remove myself from a certain city and town. You know, the saying goes about, you know, a shark will only grow so big if it's in a sized tank. A fish will only grow so big. But the bigger of a home it has, the bigger that sea creature or that underwater life can grow to be. Like, you put a goldfish in a small tank, it's only going to grow to be so big. But you increase its environment and its living space, and a goldfish can get huge.
And then you meet like-minded people. On that note, I want to backtrack just a little bit. When, you know, we all know that you are in recovery, or still are in recovery, which you've been doing great with. But if we travel back a little bit, as far as when you were in that moment and you were trying to get out of that, were there goals set at that time? Probably not, because you really weren't thinking about that.
You know, that's the crazy thing. You know, that actually takes us into a deeper dive.
Yeah.
Are you willing to take that deep dive with me?
That's up to you.
I mean, I'm interested because I'm asked the question. In that moment, was there already goals set in place? And you know, probably not. To respond to that, I have to explain, like, all a few of the variables that are in place in that same moment. One, the reason it's so difficult to answer the question is because of the background of my life.
Right.
As a kid, diagnosed at 2 with ADHD, I found myself fed medications for almost 14 years of my life. At the same token, the older I got, The more my world started to open up, my brain is this sponge as a teenager going
Right.
through, and it's understanding more and more and more. And as I was growing, I started doing the research, and I found that Ritalin, it's not that Ritalin can rot holes in your brain. It will. It is synthetic methamphetamine. It is a form of legal governmental form of dope. Adderall, if you haven't done your research, Adderall, which is a methamphetamine, is a amphetamine of pharmaceutical medications. Is actually molecular structure is one molecule off of actual meth. One
Wow.
one molecule. Look up the molecular structure of Adderall and compare the molecular structure to that of methamphetamine, and you're feeding this to individuals. Now, I got to say, there are the pros and cons of both. In my adult age now, I have not been on medications in years, although I've also had years of drug and alcohol abuse as well as other things that, all this stuff that come into play. And all that aside, I still have this grip on my own conscious mind that I am
Right.
so grateful for. This thirst for knowledge that tells me that I understand that not only my body can heal itself, and that my brain has the ability to do such phenomenal things, repair itself in so many ways, that I believe it to be possible to rewire your mind of whatever you've gone through.
Right.
But you have to put in the work. The work is the
Mm-hmm.
part, and it's the most difficult thing. Like currently dealing with what I'm going through as far as detoxing from nicotine. Most
Right.
people struggle with quitting cigarettes. Everybody is going to. We tell ourselves for years in the beginning that we can quit anytime, and it's the notorious conversation we could have right now about it.
Yeah,
But
I mean, we could go on all day.
right, but falling back onto the deep dive of answering your question, that background of being fed pharmaceuticals. I was told I was ADHD. The reality is my mind processes things for me. It's like the equivalent of our eyesight. Our eyesight sees everything upside down, but our brains are smart enough to flip the image for us. Well, my
Mm-hmm.
brain does that with all kinds of problem solving. With photographic memory is the reason I was able to get my first job out of Firehouse Subs, because in a Toucan's Ale House, which is like a family bar. I got my serving job there and my prep job in the mornings at both these restaurants because I was able to not only convince the person that interviewed me, but myself, that I could memorize the menu in under a day, under 24 hours. In 8
Wow.
hours, I wrote every item on that menu on flashcards, and
Yeah, I remember you telling me that. Yeah.
quizzed myself until I didn't get it wrong. I went back in Toucan's Ale House when I got that job. I didn't miss one. When I went into Firehouse Subs, I missed only one and was asked to come back the next morning because I passed it when I came back the next morning.
Wow.
The amount of applying yourself to something
With
that
determination. Yeah.
really, but that also I feel weighs in on how what piques someone's interest. If it doesn't pique your interest, you're not
Don't do
going
it.
to pay it any mind whatsoever.
It really comes down to how bad do you want it?
Right. What do you want and how bad do you want it? Where people have these goals and dreams. I want to be a basketball player. I want to be a rapper. Well, then you better take the ball and fucking run with it. Every chance you
Mm-hmm.
get, every day you wake up and you find a reason to be a victor and not a victim, you take it and you run with it. And it means you might have to take, endless nights with no sleep, you
Yeah.
know. But, the hard part about this too, Jeanette, is that in the beginning of this, I didn't have anything stopping me anymore.
Right.
Also was willing not to hide anything in my life. Doing drugs and drug abuse behind closed doors, is something that I was striving to get away from. I realized that live streaming myself and where I was and what I was doing, like I made a choice to skate over here. I'm gonna go over here. This is what we're going to do, and say this is what I'm going to do. I'm
Right.
just what's going to come into my life. Therefore, anything that happens, repercussions or consequences, I made these choices to be. Whether I got hit by a car, I made the choice to do these things.
Right.
So,
And that's what people have to understand. Every choice has a consequence,
right.
good or bad.
And I could have very well ended up getting hit by a semi. Skating cross country is a very, very dangerous thing. That's why it is so much work and a passion of mine to turn this into something beneficial in so many ways, and as well as to make it safe for people, so that
Right.
there's a question out to those that want to sign up, those that want to take on the 365-day challenge of skating cross country, to provide these people with the list of skate parks, the app to download to do this, to sign up, and everything, every day, like everything it be put in place. It's just going to take a lot of work. One of the things that I am working on doing, as well, is something that I was looking forward to bring to the table to you and Rain, but me and Rain managed to kind of discuss it a little while ago. So part of the fundraiser and the money raised for it not only will be going into the business to help establish cross-country skateboarding. We're weighing one of two ways: LLC or nonprofit. Nonprofit is
Right.
way better on our plates. But that being said, a website being made, having a domain, all this is going to cost money,
Sure.
as well as many other things. But what I would like to do is for the list of skate parks stretching from Georgia up the East Coast to New York City, and for a skate park out in Klamath Falls, Oregon, as well as Phoenix, Arizona. There are people in places that, okay, Phoenix, Arizona, Kevin Dukes Westfall. Big shout out to Kevin Dukes Westfall here on Facebook. Check him out. Skateboarder out of Phoenix, Arizona, who I'm looking very, very, very forward to putting him on the team for the street team for cross country.
Nice. Okay.
He skates every day to and from work. He's also like a dietary cook. He cooks for people that can't for themselves. Skates to and from all over the city every single day. He even videos it and live streams himself doing it. I feel like the individuals that are out there actually skating and video themselves doing it, at the end of the day, you go spend an entire day at a skate park and look at the ones that spend time smoking, the ones that spend time skating, the ones that show up and leave really fast, and the ones that are there to nail one trick. Those kids deserve a contract, and those kids are putting in work that should be rewarded, and it should be noticed, and not just one day, every day of the week.
Every day. Absolutely.
The Michael Jordan story of late at night shooting hoops outside. Like, there are plenty of people out there with a story, and
there is. That's the reason I do this.
Handle it all. So we've agreed, me and Rain, that we will start with a list of skate parks up the East Coast, and something that funding can help us do.
Sure.
And goal is to hire local bands. So now your money is going further than me. You're allowing me to pay a local band to show up at a skate park.
Skate park.
We have now bought ourselves a window to speak to these crowds publicly.
Yeah.
And I think that's a solid strategy for us to work with. Like you and I were both saying, like, it's a lot of work.
And it is a lot of work.
If you want it to become something that's believable, a business that can bring in, millions of dollars a year, the skateboarding industry, that is a very profitable industry in the future of what different styles of skateboarding will become, will solely be formed by the community at hand. There's over 30 billion skateboarders in the world, active skateboarders right now. That is a huge market of bringing joy and happiness to people in many ways. And I think for you guys to support cross-country skateboarding and its endeavors and all of its missions and its entirety, being able to pay local bands to show up at skate parks that we pick is a very beneficial gesture. It helps locals. We're feeding families. We're helping. Like, that's just as symbolic as you handed me $100 saying, I like what you do, keep doing it. And I skated 60 miles, buy me a $50 meal, and leave my waiter or waitress $40-$50 because they print money every day, you guys, every single day. And at the same time, like I'm willing to go the distance. You have somebody right here in front of you ready to skate the distance. I'm
Yep.
ready.
And I think the great thing about this is just by your passion, you're going to be the one to blow this thing up as far as skating goes. If you just keep that determination, this thing will go worldwide. I have no doubt.
I appreciate it. It's difficult. The determination, I must speak on it. It will always be there. And the reason it will always be there is because I believe in myself. And I believe in myself because I have come to understand through experience how my patience pays off just as much as my hard work and dedication.
Absolutely. With the point being, so that everybody knows, there was a time when you didn't.
Right.
And you had to work at that to get to that spot.
Well, thank you for that. Yeah, back to your question. You know, like when I look back at my life and the moment that these choices and these decisions begin to come to fruition, there was just the struggles that come with a hyperactive mindset.
Sure.
A hyper-focused mindset. I can get a lot done. I can, if I wanted to, and if I spent most of my time alone, I could be 10 times more productive
Yeah.
than I am currently in my life. That weighs in big. Whereas in that moment, I didn't have kids. I didn't have, I had a job. I made good money. I made really good money. $15 an hour cash at the end of every day. I work 3 and 4 days a week, make up to $140 something a day, and my rent's paid, my phone bill's paid. I'm eating out of pocket. I don't have stamps, and I'm living down in Brunswick, Georgia. I'm seeing the same people and the same people and the same people every day. The same routine of boredom or laziness, striking. Boredom causes a lot of things, and some people, it's hunger. As a kid, me and my brothers would be bored, and when we find ourselves opening the fridge 20 times, staring in it, knowing exactly what's in it, and there ain't nothing we want to. But boredom causes hunger. Boredom can cause you to want to go drink because there's. And the thing is, I'm very aware of two things: my health, and then my every breath. Time.
Yeah.
My perception of time is so in tune. I don't know how else to describe that.
Right.
And with that said, I understand there's a lot of things that, like, if you put money in stocks, it's a waiting game.
Yeah.
Watch you put $100 in, you're $50 down in the hole within the first few hours, but 3 days down the road, you've tripled your money.
Yeah.
People see that plummet. I've spent $100. I'm already out $50, and they immediately want to be like, only thing I can do is either let it sit there and hope to break even, or pull down and not lose any more of it. People get impatient, so impatient. And I've learned a great deal of patience. It takes a lot of work, one, but patience goes hand in hand with the amount of labor or legwork you do in anything. The passion that you have for something. In the moments that I found myself really just desperate to get off of drugs, because the reality of it was the desperation came from wanting to be a great father.
Right. Now let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask the hard question here. If you didn't pull yourself out of that, do you think you'd be sitting here in front of me right now?
No.
Do you think you'd be alive today?
Possibly, but I may have ended some lives in the process. At the same time, my answer being possibly, because, when a person or an individual finds themselves at the crossroads of spending money on any kind of drug or marijuana, if it comes from the street, I'm about to buy a bag of weed from somebody. There are a few variables that immediately have to be accepted when making the decision to do that. And one of them is who you're going to go to. Hope they don't screw you over and give you something fake or something that can kill you. So, this is just a handful of things that come into
that play. Yeah.
accepting the fact that I'm about to gamble my money away and hope that this person doesn't screw me over. Like there's this,
That's quite a gamble.
yeah, there's this sensation in the background of the subconscious just being jumbled around, like, hopes that you don't get played, and that coming with the territory, that territory itself becomes, very sensitive. So
Yeah.
what I'm getting at is, um, when you're willing to possibly lose your money in the process of trying to get drugs to get high, like, you know when you're telling yourself, like, well, nothing I can do, I want the drug, or I want the weed, or I want the whatever, so I gotta hope they don't screw me over, and if I don't like what's going on, I won't, all these thoughts that get thrown around in the mind.
Right.
And you know when a person is in that moment accepting those things, that's where I find myself fast forwarding to the future.
Right.
It's the cause and effect. So, for example, if I have a really nice skateboard, right? Let's say I'm a teenager with a really nice bicycle in the wrong neighborhood. Some boys come up and are like, "I like that bicycle. Where'd you get it?" And then, and long story short, I get robbed for my bicycle. The same scenario. I had a really nice skateboard with electric light up LED wheels. When the wheel spins, the wheels would light up red. I ended up carrying a ball bat with me.
Wow.
Yeah, well, that switched and it got a little more dramatic. I carried a cut piece of wood that you would, like a rod you would put in your closet or your.
Mm-hmm.
I hammered a bicycle peg onto it, and I carried it everywhere with me. When buying dope, I dealt with a lot of sketchy people. At the same token, running away from the fact that I didn't want to be continuously doing dope. The reality was I was in a relationship with someone who did. Yeah. And I didn't want to be around it. The more it showed up, and in the worst ways, for free. So there's this constant feeding like that of nicotine to a lab rat.
Yeah.
And, so the withdrawals were just going to become more difficult, and severing the tie between the relationship of the one I was in a relationship with and the people I was surrounding myself with. Regardless of being in the relationship with that one person, it still mattered. I could get away from that person, but if I'm still surrounding myself with certain people,
Mm-hmm.
my influence or my subconscious reaction to handle a situation falling back on going and getting another bag of drugs. Like just constantly falling back to this. Even
sure.
though so the hard part is severing that tie too, and it was that alone. Like, I found myself, understanding that, the hardest part is to leave someone you love.
Sure.
And my son is somebody that, like, he's one of the biggest factors in my life. He was the reason I wanted to go back to school. He was the reason that I knew I needed a career and not a job. He's the reason I believed that just because I didn't have a driver's license, a GED, or a high school diploma, he's the reason that I believed, I knew that someone would pay me what I was worth, regardless of that my actions could speak louder than my words or any paperwork could. Like, life in reality is a little different, and there's a lot of twists and turns to that. But at the end of the day, I don't need a driver's license, a GED, or high school diploma to become a recognized athlete. I went out and skated.
Yeah.
I videoed it. I documented it. I posted it. I shared it with the world. My entire journey. But, I was sitting realizing that, there's this just one decision that I just I'm finding myself faced with, like, you know, if I didn't take advantage of, I'm seeing something here. I'm seeing the fact that I'm skating. I'm going out of my way to get to work. And
Right.
for example, some people pay for a taxi to get to work.
You're skating. Yeah.
I'm skating. Yeah, I'm skating. So I'm putting my body to work. I'm getting a workout on top. I was probably never been healthier in my life like this current point right now.
How
Like,
amazing is that, right?
really, really, truly. Like, in my battle with nicotine is, you know, like, it's in motion and it's coming along. Like,
Good.
you know, all this aside, you know, I can't stress how much it was just so difficult knowing my mind understood something that I didn't.
Yeah.
You know, at face value, it took me breaking everything down that my mind already knew. I had to sort through my brain like files and write these
And you
things.
really just had to rip apart everything, rip all those pieces,
like,
and then put them back together like a puzzle. Yep.
life is that hard. It hits you so hard. Life, well, relationships, jobs, careers hits you so hard. You find yourself swimming in things that you think you're
You
breathing.
didn't even want to face. Yeah.
You think you're breathing, and you don't want to admit that you might be drowning in it. A
Yeah.
lot of people have so much passion and have so much heart, but they're not willing to admit to themselves that, you know, when they're putting too much on themselves. I'm guilty of that in the past, but, you know, I'm in a point in my life now that I understand what I can handle, and that's like where I'm ready. I'll fight fist, you know, fist over fist for exactly what I'm trying to accomplish, because, you
And
know,
I think it takes a lot because it's a matter of looking yourself in the mirror and saying, I'm ready to deal with every single issue I have, break it down, face it, and do everything I want to do. And that's what you did.
well, you know, I think there's another step too, Jeanette.
Okay.
The next step is us as a team coming together every
Sure.
day, just
Yeah.
like Sam, just like our break off groups. You know,
Right.
like literally coming together every day, checking on one another, because
Yeah.
now we've got a grip on ourselves to some extent, and we've got a grip on what choices we're faced with, what we're trying to do, what we're willing to put in our energy and effort. And I spoke with Rain about how, you know, Thomas is been drifting his own way, and there's a
Mm.
lot of going on in his life that he needs to tend to. There's other things we'll discuss about that.
Sure.
And as to why, you know, like, I removed him from the chat, but for good reason, because between all four of us, you, me, and Rain, need to find out where he stands with his investment of
Right.
time, energy, and money. Because if you want your business to grow, and,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and you have every answer in the book as to how much money it's going to make year after year, how like who's going to be doing what and handling what. If you had everything right there, this is how it's going to go down. We got our entire strategy book right here on play by play of how we're going to handle the next 5 years.
And I want everybody to understand that it's not, the recovery is not just about drugs. It's about suicide. It's about, you know, anybody out there that's gone through trauma, you know,
Anything,
it's
you know what I mean?
anything. It's not just about drugs. Yeah.
If you're dealing with, you know, struggles with your personalities, or, you know, whatever,
Depression. Yeah. Anything.
drugs withdrawals and sobriety is one thing, but people struggle on a daily basis. And when I started all that, that's kind of how the end of my collaboration with um, what was with Unlucky One Apparel and Eli Quinier.
Mhm.
I just drew the blank. Eli Quinier and Unlucky One Apparel. You check him out on Instagram. Highly recommend him. He's a great artist, great graphic designer, and his sticker drops are just like flawless. They're definitely collectors items, in my opinion, for, you know, skating and stickers. To own your own stickers for the skate community is a pretty decent step. I think it was pretty smart for him to deal with that. His sticker drop I was present for, but our our battle of heads and our dispute with each other that ended our relationship, our professional relationship, was the
Right.
fact that Scotty in Australia wanted to mail me a bicycle to get footage of me on. So
Oh, wow.
there became a dilemma here in his mind, in his world. He's seen it as if you start riding BMX, I have to rebrand my entire company because, like, I called him.
It's too different. Right.
Yeah, like he was kind of giving me a cold shoulder, and I was like, like, are you mad at me? He was like, well, my business, unlucky one, skateboarding and music culture influenced. You start riding BMX, and I gotta rebrand everything. It's like, nah, bro. Like, I could skate for
Sure.
and ride BMX on the side, but like it got a little touchy, a little sensitive. And like no harm, no hard feelings.
No. Right.
But it was a broken third metatarsal that sent me home, and ultimately I had healed from that, and we didn't really hash everything out until the very end, where after healing from the broke third metatarsal, I had suffered a concussion, which I got on. I was out for almost 25, 30 minutes. I lost a lot of memories. Both parts of my short and long-term memory were affected.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. I didn't know what orange juice was. It existed. I didn't have my son. Photos of me and him I couldn't recollect it. Didn't understand it. And I also had shot and made a couple of my first TikTok videos ever based on those events. Yeah, there are longer versions of the TikTok videos clipped, but there are longer versions of the videos that I took of myself having conversation with a camera, kind of like a diary or a log. I also have footage of me going through suicidal moments that no one has seen. I haven't even watched them, but the fact is that for some reason, a part of me felt the need to record moments of my life at a certain point in my life. I understood that I was writing my history books, and the last piece of history I ever would want to leave behind for my son or daughter, any of my family to see when they go to put me in the ground. The hardest thing for me to find myself coming to terms with is that if I continued at the rate that I was going and I did nothing about what was going on,
right,
that I was looking at what my funeral would be. I was looking at what it would consist of. I had nothing.
Right.
I didn't have nobody. Like, real friends are really hard to come by. People that are there really support you.
It's true.
Not stealing out of your home when you open the doors to them. Not you handing them $100 and they're thanking you while they're stealing another $200 out of your other pocket. Like, loyalty, love, and respect are really hard to come by in such a savage world. And it's not helping that, it's the year 2022. Why the fuck are we still blowing people up?
Right.
As a global community, why are we still doing that? And there is no just answer to it.
There isn't. Absolutely not.
The fact is that we're still, butting heads with each other as a planet. Like, you're still not getting
when we've come so far with technology and other things.
Exactly. Why the hell? Because there's one factor is money. Money is
money. Of course, we all know that.
And there's something else taking place where all this is going on over here in the Ukraine.
And then you got this over there.
Behind all of our backs. Yeah. Slide a hand for you. Look over here. And don't pay attention to things taking place over here. So, man, my goal is to also educate people. Cross-country skateboarding is so much more than just skateboarding. It's not just... Sure. And it's
about a community coming together. Everybody on the same...
people.
Yeah.
The movie is also going to express to people the birth of why this became something. Is one man desperate enough and made the decision to not let anybody or anything stop me and tell me I'm not successful, I'm not rich, and that I'm not an athlete. Like skateboarding, I skate every day to 2 jobs. I'm skating 20 something miles to do 2 jobs, and I have nothing at the end of the day. I
Right.
have a phone, I have data, I have a form of technology and a form of a tool that is
Right.
advanced at my disposal. Anything I want to learn, I ain't got to pay a dime for, that people are paying to go to school for, to find themselves in debt, of student college debt. You can
Yeah.
learn
Anything.
anything, and you don't have to pay a dime. Just make sure your phone bill's on or you're connected to Wi-Fi. That's
That's
literally
it.
that's literally it. The information is we're so connected. The information's out there. So whenever I find myself in the position of being in Klamath Falls, Oregon, waking up, helping a man build an apparel company, and somebody in Australia is wanting to mail me a bike, a guy from, and get footage on it because he owns an edible company in Australia who is funded by people in France. Like at the point that someone,
Wow.
it's phenomenal that
And see right there, that tells you how the world can come together to help a cause without any fighting.
and
And I think that's
it,
phenomenal.
it didn't take much of nothing for me to accept another thing that I had come across too. The philosophy of it didn't matter if you like, love, or hate me. YouTube would pay me for your click. If I could make succession off of getting people to click on my video, and all I had to do is get my video in front of their face, COVID-19 threw that into such full effect where everybody is ordering everything to their front door and everybody's phone
Yeah, it's true. Yep.
their face. If you're not watching a video, listening to music, or texting or messaging on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, or Snapchat or WhatsApp, you're driving and using Google Maps. Everybody's got their phones. COVID-19 made it even more possible for me to
Possible. Yeah, I
determine
agree.
what would come with the territory. If all people's phones are in their faces and I have this many friends on Facebook, then I need to share this to all my friends and convince them that it's worth their time to share. And,
Absolutely.
Facebook, I have to thank Facebook for being one of the biggest communities to launch my cross country skate career.
Yeah.
Literally just 3 years in the making. So you guys, it's really much.
It's just, yeah, we could go on all night, but I mean,
Oh,
there's so much coming.
you know,
Ethan and I have been working together as well as Rain, and we're working with a couple other people. And by next year, this thing is going to blow up. We know it is. And dollar for dollar, mile for mile,
yeah,
go,
for that
please
wants to
go donate if you can. And let's make this happen.
please support the fundraiser, everybody. Now,
Yes.
it's asking you a lot to be like, yo, I'm gonna hand this kid $10. This tattoo
Share the link if you can. To your
please
friends, family, and let's
platform,
get this thing rolling.
Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. Please
Yep.
tag, share it, hashtag it, start it, trend it. Everything you gotta do, guys. Get us out there because ultimately we have a world to kind of change, and we have an opportunity to do it.
Opportunity to do it, and now's the time. Yep.
We need to stand on, like more so now than ever.
Ever. I agree.
Thank you so much for having me too. It's been
Thank you
great.
so much for filling in tonight. I always love having you on, and I'm proud to be working with you. And we'll be back on again, I'm sure, next week or the week after. So good
Yeah.
luck with everything, the baby. And
If anybody's interested, please go over to the Instagram, follow me. It's Cross Country Skateboarder. Skateboarder is spelled with an 8. And check me out on TikTok. I'll be going live after this interview on TikTok, kind of give everybody updates on everything, and hope to gain some more supporters because every single day at the end of every week, come April 18th, we will sit down and look at all the funds that we have managed to raise. Currently, we are on schedule for Rain showing up and
good.
here in PA and meeting up with me in person. I'm truly excited, humbled to be able to have such an honor to introduce such an incredible man who just lost his father recently, guys.
You did it. Yes.
He's going through a lot, and when I asked him how he was feeling and how all that he's going through, his response was just so heartfelt. He spoke on, he couldn't do anything but speak on how more determined he was.
He was.
He
Yeah.
makes history. Rain, aka Taco Loco on Facebook. Taco Loco on Facebook. Please check him out. April 18th, he will begin his travel cross country skating. He is going to drive from South Carolina here to PA. He'll meet up with me, and we will drop our first official skate park route. List of skate parks in the Pittsburgh area and possibly Indiana and New York. So y'all definitely tune in because there are many things taking place. There are a lot going on.
There are. Absolutely.
And also April 30th, my son is actually due. Tobias Evan Gibson Holyfield is due May 16th. The induced date is May 9th. And honestly, any day the water.
Yep.
So any day between now and April 30th is like what I'm gonna say. If he hasn't come by April 30th, like we're not gonna make the Divergent U's largest event, but there will be another. Right. We will attend. We will make sure we are ready for that event. And maybe we can even talk to Sam Terrell, founder and
before then, yeah.
Divergent U. Big shout out to him. Maybe we can reach out to him and convince him to let us attend virtually. Even if
that would be great.
Tell him stuff to set up for a booth, but like decorations.
How cool would that be, right?
But things are taking place, and I appreciate everybody that checks this interview out. Like, follow, share, and a big thank you, Jeanette. Before we go, I want to get a takeaway from you. Please hook me up.
I remember that from class.
Yes.
Ethan and I took Sam Terrell's class, as you all know, and what a class it was. So go check that class out if you can. My takeaway from tonight is we've learned so much in that class, and I am humbled, honored to have met this man right here because I've learned so much from him. He's learned from me, and that's what it's about. And so the word for the night is spectacular because this is such a spectacular event that is gonna just blow the world up.
It really is. There's just so much going on over the next few weeks. The month of April is big for us here. The youngest daughter is having a birthday. She'll be 7, Araya.
Oh wow. Okay.
April 16th, and then Easter. It's literally right there.
It's coming.
We have Easter. We have the birthday, and Tobias, our son, their little brother, is going to be here at any point in between any of that. So we're focused on all this on top of
this, and that's the point that needs to be.
Yes. On top of working a normal job. I actually I dealt with some issues with Walmart. They have a point system. It's a little dramatic.
I remember you saying that. Yep.
I caught COVID twice, bronchitis once, and it's just frustrating. I'll be able to reapply after 90 days, I think, which I'm going to do 14 an hour that I need for my family. So,
right.
End of the day,
but the biggest thing that's recognized here, and I want you to realize this, is that you've done it all with all this going on. You're doing it.
Right.
And that's what needs to be recognized. I recognize it.
I appreciate it. I'm excited. Rain, he makes me so fucking happy the way he speaks on it and the way he gives, you can feel all of his energy is in the conversation when it's pertaining to this.
Well, when he's ready, he'll be on here too. Yep.
Yeah. And between you and me, I know we're talking about trying to attend that event virtually. Something to for us to discuss here soon is doing a in-person interview. So probably when Rain arrives, we'll be able to arrange that like we had. I think we discussed.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love to come out there and let's do it.
All right. Thank you so much, Jeanette.
Yes. Thank you so much for being on here, everybody. Ethan Holyfield, go check him out. Please go donate if you can, and I'll see y'all tomorrow at 1:30. The interview tomorrow is going to be spectacular as well. Ethan, I'll see you next time, and everybody have a great night.
That's good.
Bye.
Bye.